Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to Let's Read the SCP Foundation Wiki. This entry's just called Cereal Bowl, and I saw that it said it was safe, and then I saw the picture, so there's no telling what's about to happen here. SCP-1404 is to be placed on a table in a standard containment cell. At least once a day, 1404 is to be observed by an available staff member for no less than 5 minutes. 1404 consists of two items, a 715 milliliter seemingly ceramic black bowl measuring 15 centimeters in diameter and 7 centimeters high, and a seemingly stainless steel spoon 16 centimeters in length. Neither bear any marks indicating location or date of manufacture. If at any time either object is placed in an orientation that is not standard eating placement, it will slowly right itself into that position by means not yet understood. Once upright, both sides will slide in the direction of the nearest table-like surface by the most efficient path at a speed of 20 meters per hour. If there is no direct path to a table, both objects will attempt to go through obstacles by rubbing against them, causing no damage consistent with constant friction, but with no effect to the objects themselves, or causing damage. 1404 has also been observed sliding up and down walls, accessing ventilation systems, moving along ropes 1 centimeter in diameter, and dropping from heights of 30 meters without damage to either object. When reaching a table, they will slide up the legs or sides of the table until the bowl comes to rest 10 centimeters from the closest edge centered along the table's width. The spoon will halt once it is 6 centimeters to the right of the bowl, perpendicular to the closest edge. For more information on its behavior, see Test Log A and Test Log B. What could you possibly have done with a cereal bowl that there's two different test log pages? Over the course of 5 minutes, the bowl will slowly fill with milk through an unknown means. When placed in a hermetically sealed transparent case, air pressure was observed to rise, showing that the milk is entering the bowl from an unknown external source. Once the milk reaches 472 milliliters, cereal alphabet letters will rise from the milk and spell out a phrase. Each phrase is vague in its meaning, but they are consistently negative and usually threatening, sometimes referring to "we." If the bowl is emptied, the process will begin as before, though with a different phrase of similar content. If a single letter is removed, it is replaced within 10 seconds. Unhindered, phrases will remain exactly 24 hours, at which point the letters simultaneously sink out of sight. Within 30 seconds, a new phrase will emerge. It is unknown if 1404 has a limited number of phrases, as it does repeat itself often. Some phrases, however, have been observed only once. Logging of messages has revealed no discernible pattern. See Log 1. Testing on milk showed it to be cow's milk, 1% fat content with no anomalous properties. Cereal proved to be identical to probably Alphabet's cereal recipe, and also proved unremarkable. Disposable dudes compelled to ingest cereal and milk showed no adverse effects, though samples could be taken from 1404 itself, as objects appear to be unbreakable even at a molecular level. The actual age of the objects is unknown, though based on their style and apparent method of manufacture, they are no more than 50 years old. Objects maintain a temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and contents a temperature of 3 degrees Celsius, regardless of any heat applied. Both are seemingly unaffected by the laws of thermodynamics. The contents of 1404 show no sign of putrefaction, even over the course of several weeks. If separated from 1404, both cereal and milk lose any anomalous characteristics. It does not appear to be sentient. Attempts to communicate with it, including verbal address to both the bowl and spoon, radio wave transmission, written messages submerged in milk, and addition of cereal letters have met with no results. It was discovered in the apartment of someone somewhere after his suicide by gunshot wound to the head on some point in 2000-something. Officers arriving on the scene found his body in proximity to 1404 and believed it to be an unusual suicide note. When the stories of a serial suicide note began circulating in the local press, Agent Blank, undercover as a somewhere PD homicide detective, was dispatched to verify the presence of an anomalous object. The apartment was completely devoid of furniture of any kind. The toilet and kitchen counters were destroyed in a means consistent with a sledgehammer found on the scene. The only sign of habitation was a sleeping bag and a bucket containing urine and feces. Oh, the logs are here. Cool. The object was on a windowsill in its standard orientation. The agent remarked in his report that upon picking up the bowl, he felt it slightly tugging in his hand towards the windowsill. 1404 was confiscated and brought to Site 23. It is unknown how long it was in his possession, by what means he acquired it, and why he did not discard it. If left unobserved by human eyes for more than 24 hours, 1404 will migrate to the nearest table in a populated area, as seen with its arrival in Staff Cafeteria B at some point in 2000-something, after the object bored its way through its steel container and the wall of Storage Area 8. For this reason, containment in a storage area is unadvised due to possible damage to the facility and the potential for compromise of the containment of other SCPs. Okay, so, first test log. It was placed in the center of a maze, navigated the maze successfully with 0 errors. Spoon put in a polymer something. It remained motionless for approximately 3 hours until it was observed wiggling. Over the next 4 hours, it had freed itself and proceeded towards the table containing the bowl. Sealed in a level 4 containment unit. It moved to the wall of its enclosure and began rubbing at the wall. The wall began to show signs of wear after 6 hours with no damage to the bowl. The test concluded to avoid damage to the facility. A table suspended via high-tension cables 14 meters in the air in the middle of a 20 by 20 by 20 meter area. It moved to the wall of the containment area. Both objects tilted 90 degrees and began to ascend the wall. When reaching the ceiling, both objects reoriented to that plane and began to slide across the ceiling. Once over the table, it dropped 6 meters to the surface and came to rest at the standard orientation. A tungsten table placed at a furnace set to 3200 degrees Celsius. It entered the furnace without damage. Upon reaching standard position, it began to fill with milk. Table extracted. Temperature of the SCP was 18 degrees, milk 3 degrees. Okay. Test log B. Attempts to fill the bowl. Water. It tips and spills the contents, rights itself, and heads to the table. 1% milk. It tips and spills the contents, rights itself, and heads to the table. Wet cement to capacity. Tips and spills the contents with 0 adhesion to surface, rights itself, and proceeds towards the table. 30 kilogram weight. Tips and spills the contents, rights itself, heads to the table. Polymer something. Tips and spills the contents with 0 adhesion, rights itself, heads to table. 200 kilogram weight placed atop bowl. Tips, lifting the weight with rising end until the weight slides off. Bowl rights itself and heads to the table. And then there's log 1. Phrase log. Death is near 101 times. You will suffer 124 times. Give up 170. Blood and pain 201. All is lost 230. There is no hope 304. Nowhere to run 380. You will die 409. Single phrases to date chronological order. You cannot hide. We will crush you. The sky will burn. We are coming. So yeah. Cereal bowl. And didn't they list this one as also being safe? I guess it's safe as long as they let it get to a table and somebody looks at it every 24 hours, because otherwise nothing will stop that bowl from reaching a table and then threatening someone when it gets there. Nothing. That's gonna do it for this entry though. Later.